in Kibarella Odinga said, he asked his supporters, do you want one more day in what seemingly looked like there could be more days that, the Azimio One Kenya team would be leading their supporters in anti-government protest, because he was asking them, do you want it to be, do you want us to go to the streets again tomorrow or on Friday? So there are telltale signs that maybe, because as asking myself at the end of the day, what if Raila Odinga says we are going on demonstrations, or is urging Kenyans or his supporters to go to the streets and in trying to pressure the government to lower the high cost of living and of course address other key concerns by the Azimio One Kenya team. If we end up going on demonstrations or engaging in anti-government protests for 5 days a week, if the situation in the country is as it is at the moment, what about if those protests will be happening each and every day? I mean,
because Katani, but the way we look at it is like this, and it's a two-sided situation. In this sense, if you look at the headlines that we are covering as a media, we're saying, well, that the police have successively stopped the Azimio protesters from accessing the Central Business District. Good. That is a headline. But then, Ketani, you and I, we go through the Central Business District before we come to work and out of work as well. You would essentially describe the Central Business District a ghost town for the 2 days that we've seen the protesters try or threaten to get into the CBD. So you ask yourself the question, are we celebrating the protesters not getting into the CBD, or should we ask the question, are the protesters achieving what they want? Because, Ketani, we saw that report again, almost 90% of the businesses in the CBD yesterday, they were closed again. We saw that on Monday. Now, if that is the same thing that's going to happen on Thursday, Ketani, don't you think that something has to give, in the sense of you cannot guard an area that is essentially becoming unproductive? Because if we had businesses going on in the Central Business District, and then we said that the police have successfully guarded the businesses that are going on within the town. It's not just about guarding it. If we go by the statement that DP Rigathi Gachagua gave us last week Monday, when again the same scenario was observed within the Central Business District, that we lost 2 billion. So we keep on losing 2 billion on a daily, and you hear also Sakaja saying that what we collected was 70% lower than exactly what we collect on a single day. So can't you say that indeed guarding the Central Business District essentially will not achieve a result? Because what result are you achieving? Because if the demonstrators walk into the CBD, there is no business. If they do not walk into the CBD as well, Ketani, there is no business that's going on in the Central Business District, which entirely asks if it continues now into the second day. That is on Monday and Thursday as well. We've seen the results on Monday, destruction of property and nothing really going on in the CBD. Now, if it goes on to the second day, Thursday, do you think that we are going to sit here successfully and say, well, the Central Business District has been guarded? I think the headline then should be, and we did that story, and we're going to talk about it, Kesani, it is the consequences of the Azimio protests on the Central Business District. There is no business going on. And we do know that Nairobi is the capital of finance in this economy. So if it's not ticking, then you do know that something is going wrong with the economy, Ketani.
Yeah, definitely. So, and I said it last week, at the end of the day, it's not just about protecting the CBD, because it looks like the main aim of the police is to ensure that these protesters do not get into the Central Business District. Yeah. And like you've rightly put it, what is the essence of protecting the CBD with nothing going on?
Yeah.
There's no essence.
There's no essence at all. Completely, Ketani. There's no essence. Because here we are sitting and saying, well, the police have successfully stopped the protest. Let me open you to that particular headline, isn't it? Yes. I saw it this morning on, yes, here's that. It's on page 3 of the Standard this morning. We did look at it this morning when looking at the newspaper. Now listen to this, Ketani. Elaborate police plan locked protesters and politicians out of the Central Business District. Then you ask yourself, to what end? To what end? To what end? Even before they came there, Central Business District was a ghost town. Kisani, it will take you more than 1 hour if you use public transport from here to the CBD yesterday. Yesterday, I would attest here, it took me 10 minutes. It was even less than 10 minutes to get into the CBD. Kenyatta Avenue, completely a ghost town. Ngong Road, completely a ghost town. Yeah? So when these feeder routes that are supposed to feed business to the Central Business District are essentially not doing that, that's you saying we are guarding essentially a ghost town. You're protecting businesses. Businesses, yes, in as much as we're saying, Ketani, that businesses need protection, right? We do know that. But when you're saying that we protected the businesses in the CBD, what do the businesses want? They want protection whilst also making money. So when they make money and we're celebrating about their protection, it beats sense to any trader, to any business person, Ketani.
Yeah, definitely. And on that note, we jump onto the newsroom diary this particular morning. And like SIMBA said, most of the stories that we'll be looking at today are in regards to those around the Azimio anti-government protests that happened yesterday. And of course, we don't know and understand and give you a clear picture of the aftermath of the protests that happened yesterday, because property was destroyed, worth thousands or millions. We even saw a police car, SIMBA, being burnt down, razed down in Kawangware. And not only that, shops were looted. And it's a sad state of affairs, because at the end of the day, we talk about demonstrations and it being peaceful demonstrations. But it ends up being the complete opposite. The complete opposite. Because if today, SIMBA, if, for example, I do not, the police might have cordoned off the CBD, but still some protesters might have made their way to the Central Business District, just like Monday, and some property was, were destroyed. So at the end of the day, if, as a business person, and in Nairobi, because yesterday, so the areas that experienced chaos was Mathare, Kawangware, and Kibra. And property was destroyed. But even in the CBD, you'd find some properties were destroyed. But at the end of the day, whether in the CBD or in Kawangware, Kibra, or Mathare, if you're a business person and you decided, let me close my business today, I'm not opening because of the fear that I have in terms of what will happen with the demonstrations. But at the end of the day, you go to your shop today or your business today in the morning and you find that your property has been destroyed. So what do I do? At the end of the day, I try to, ensure that my business is okay and my own safety, I'm safe. I mean, your own safety is your priority. But again, I didn't open my business, but my property was destroyed.
That's
probably if I do run a shop, goods were stolen. Yeah. So at the end of the day, who is to blame? But we'll be trying to talk to the businessmen and women around the Central Business District and, of course, Kawangware and Kibra, just to understand and get a clear picture of what the situation is in terms of their businesses. If the looting happened, what next for them? Because it means you have to start from scratch, SIMBA. Remember, even last week on Monday, there's a businessman, I think in Machakos, whose supermarket was invaded and he lost goods worth millions. So at the end of the day, it is very, very difficult for these businessmen and women. Yeah. Again, one other story that we are really, really trying to follow up for you, and of course, our reporter Shadrach Karia will be there, is the invasion of the Kenyatta family property in Ruai. Now, SIMBA, at the end of the day, regardless, they say goons were hired or whether they were not hired. Yeah. We don't know whether it's true they were hired or not. But at the end of the day, whatever we witnessed yesterday in the Kenyatta family land in Ruai is saddening. Because people got into that land, they started cutting down trees, they stole lives. We saw people with, with livestock on their backs. Some of them getting those livestock into their car boots, going away with them, running away with them. So we'll be trying to just paint a clear picture of what the situation is as of today at the Kenyatta family land in Ruai. What is the state of affairs in terms of what was stolen, what was looted, what is, trying to get the monetary value of whatever was looted from that place. Yep. And there's the talk about, as well, remember, the Raila Odinga company, is Spectrum, I believe?
No, that's Spectre.
Exactly. Was also attacked by what people were termed as protesters. We don't know whether they were protesters or there were people who were hired or they were not hired, but still, it's really, really sad. And then I think to me it has gotten to a point whereby it is now, you are protesting against the government, we are coming for your business. Yeah. We will do whatever it takes to as well hit you hard. But at the end of the day, what we don't know is, we don't know what we're getting ourselves into. Because at the end of the day, if it gets to a point whereby, it's some sort of brings back the debate about, the class wars, the dynasty and the hustler debate. You remember how that debate was and how everything turned out even before the election. So I don't know what you make about the invasion of, firstly, the Kenyatta land, family land in Roy.
The reality about these communications that we're getting about the invasion of that particular property, we've seen a couple of, and we're going to speak from this perspective. Ketani, until you essentially are supposed to report exactly what we saw. What we saw is that the pictures that we've shown you right there, essentially showing that indeed that property was attacked. And guys went in, put it under, put the eucalyptus trees on fire, and they went out with some sheep. That's exactly what we saw. But the reality is that until then, you get a communication then from maybe the former First family, Ketani. Until then, that's when you say, well, indeed, it was attacked. And we're waiting for communication again from the police agencies in the country, because what we reported is there was a seeming reluctance from the police who were supposed to, Ketani, listen, protect properties. Yeah? Once that was word that that property was getting raided, nothing essentially happened, Ketani, for long, long hours, for 10 good hours. So you wonder, the communication that went out then informing the police agencies that indeed there was destruction of property going on at that particular area. Why was there no reaction? The only thing that we're saying is questions. Because if you're out and out saying that no property is supposed to be destroyed, then we could have expected the same movement that you made in the likes of Kangware, in the likes of Ngong Road, in the likes of Kibra to be made around that particular property. But we didn't see it, Ketani. So it's the questions and the blame game that we've seen go on between the leaders of both sides, blaming each other for presenting that scenario for sympathy as the only thing that we got.
The Nation, it says, down a slippery path. And it talks about how properties belonging to the families of former President Uhuru Kenyatta and Azimio leader Raila Odinga were targeted for attack, with machete-wielding gangs driving away with animals and setting tree plantation on fire at the Kenyatta's Northlands City estate. Like SIMBA said, we will be trying to put that into perspective for you. And like you've touched, SIMBA, we don't know who is fooling whom, because at the end of the day, you'd hear politicians allied to the Kenya Kwanza government blaming those in Azimio and Kenya for what they say as hiring people to invade other people's property so that they blame the government, but you find politicians allied to the Azimio wing of the political divide saying as well it is leaders from the government who hired these machete-wielding gangs to attack properties, over former President Uhuru Kenyatta and, of course, former Prime Minister Raila Odinga. But apart from that, we'll also be looking forward to hearing, because we do know and we do expect that members of Parliament from the Kenya Coalition, Kenya Kwanza government or administration will be or might be addressing members of the fourth estate, as well as members from the Azimio One Kenya team. As well, we'll be expecting that maybe the Inspector General of Police, that is one Japhet Kome, will be appearing to address the country in regards to what happened yesterday, and of course, as well answer questions to the allegations that police just sat down or stood and watched as these gangs made their way into the Kenyatta family land, and of course the Odinga Spectrum company and all that. We'll be trying to get to an understanding and hear if one Japhet Kome will be addressing members of the fourth estate in regards to all these issues, SIMBA.
Anyway, let's jump then quickly into what is trending this morning so we can see exactly what it is that you're talking about online. All right, this is the first tweet that we have. This is Senator Ledama Olekina. Has been quite vocal, by the way, online, Ketani, as regards the protests that we've seen. This is saying this: arrest Kimani Chungwa and Kome, all right, must resign as IG. Must resign and be prosecuted for failing to protect private property. Both should be sent to an international criminal court. Another vocal perspective, Kesani, right there on exactly what happened yesterday. Do you think that he has a point that, yeah, well, you should have protected the property?
Yeah, see, the job of the police is to protect each and every Kenyan, whether you're the one protesting or not. If I'm protesting today, I expect the police to provide security for me. If I'm not protesting, I still do expect the police to ensure that I'm safe. But at the end of the day, if that does not happen, I guess we'll leave that to the IG to address. But again, from Ledama's tweet, you can clearly tell what we were talking about just a couple of minutes ago in regards to the blame games.
Yeah.
You see Ledama is calling for the arrest of Kimani Ichung'wah, the leader of majority in the National Assembly.
Yeah.
And the blame games will continue. But at the end of the day, in my own opinion, my own very humble opinion, regardless of where you belong, which outside of the political affiliation you owe allegiance to, if at any point in time you are found culpable of financing or aiding destruction of property, you must be held accountable, regardless of your political affiliation.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, that is not the way to go.
That's not the way to go.
Yeah.
That's true, man. So the same kind of reflection from Nairobi Senator Edwin Sifuna also tweeted about this yesterday. Let's take a look at it. Just like in Northlands, the police are ignoring calls to intervene in Kibra, where outsiders welding pangas have been mobilized to attack locals. They've set a church ablaze in an attempt to set residents against each other. We urge our people to exercise utmost restraint. An allegation as well, Ketani, because you essentially will not then carry this report as factual. That is Edwin Sifuna right there presenting his case. And he's saying that it feels like the kind of protests and destruction of property that we saw in Kibra yesterday were essentially sponsored, if you will say, Ketani.
Yeah. Blame games. But, of course, we'll be trying to verify all those allegations and just paint a clear picture to you of what is right, what is not right.
Yeah.
But until then, it will be a game of me blaming the other person, there's politicians from this political affiliation blaming their counterparts from the other political affiliation. So that will be the scenario until the truth is established on who really is behind these attacks. And regardless, SIMBA, by the way, regardless of who is behind these attacks, if at all at any point, regardless of whether you've been hired by anybody, but as a Kenyan, you live in this country and you decide that you're going to, raise down even religious places, it's really saddening. And that's some sort of madness that needs to stop, SIMBA. It's really sad.
Actually,
because in your own conscience, how do you go and decide that because I've been told to do this, or even nobody has told you to do it, but you just decide, me, I'm going to do this. Ban things, ban even religious places, ban a mosque, it's saddening. Really, really saddening, SIMBA.
Anyway, let's move on to this one by Mutahi Ngunye. It's saying, banning Northlands reminds me of the 2007 post-election violence. You disagree with your opponent, you burn his property, and logic is promoted by government according to media reports. If the logic spreads, we will have no country. Only the military can contain it. He's actually put in quotes, it will be a Kagame's type of situation, Chisani, which essentially goes to amplify what we're talking about this morning as well, isn't it?
Yeah, we saw back then, Simba, I might have been a bit young, but I saw the ripple effects of what happened in the aftermath of the post-election violence in 2007, 2008. And then thousands of people lost their lives. Millions of others lost their properties. And that we don't want to go back there. At whatever cost, we are not going to go back there. Because as a country, I do believe, and I thought even after the elections and what happened after the elections, everything went back to normal. Everything was okay. I was like, yeah, I think we learned our lesson. And right now, we are here seated, uncertain of where we stand. But it should be a clarion call to everybody out there, to each and every Kenyan, that at the end of the day, be cautious of what you engage in. Be cautious of what you decide to do. Because at the end of the day, you might be affected in one way or the other. And like I said, we do not have any other country. We only have one country, and that is Kenya. We have nowhere else to go. At the end of the day, whether you support Azimio or you support the Kenya Kwanza government, I am your brother, you are my sister, you are my uncle, you are my father, you are my mother. If I need help, I'll be coming to you. So do take care of your own country and your neighbors, Simba.
Here's the thing. Let's look at what the leaders are saying. Peponi School, one of the most exclusive, expensive schools in Northlands. It has the children of richest families in Kenya, Africa, of diplomats, expatriates in Kenya. In allowing Mungiki terrorists to invade, pillage, burn, and the property, what message is the police sending? Just that one. Let's look at the one for Raila Amolo Odinga, because his account was pretty much active yesterday as well. And this is exactly what he's saying. Kenyans are saying no to oppression. And that's exactly, he paints the picture of what both sides are talking about, Ketani. Thursday it is again, Ketani. And if indeed they live to that promise, and from what we've seen, the steady fast started, it means that there's going to be another scenario as well, which will be close to what we've seen on Monday. 2 lives already gone, scores injured, and property destroyed. When will it stop? To echo the headline that we've seen on Daily Nation today, it is stop this madness, whichever way. Ketani.
Like you said, you've put everything rightly over there. And remember as well, one person was shot dead in Kisumu yesterday during the protests, and a couple others were shot dead last week. So if at all we are to solve this mess, we have to rethink our strategies. We have to rethink as a nation. We have to sit down and see, is this the way we want to go? Our leaders as well, it is a clarion call to them. Be mindful of what you say. Because at the end of the day, what happens to us will affect each and every one of us. President will be back in the country. There have been calls by the clergymen for them to sit down and talk. We don't know what will happen. Will they finally, it shouldn't be a case of we're waiting who will blink first. At the end of the day, what should be on their minds is the state of the country and what happens to the ordinary Kenyan. So we'll wait and see if before Thursday there will be any declarations by either side of maybe coming down or toning down their talks and sitting to try and have a dialogue with each other, or we'll be waiting to see what happens again on Thursday. And even before Thursday, I do believe Raila Odinga will be coming to address members of the fourth estate in between today and that day, just to give his supporters and Kenyans who have been engaging in the anti-government protests the way forward. But until then, we will be held accountable for what we do, whether by courts of law or what happens at the end of the day, if we remain peaceful as a country or not. But what I'll say is, be your brother's keeper. Thank you very much for joining us today on The Morning Drift. See you again tomorrow. Have a good day and God bless.